following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly. Cocktail Hour. My name is Matthew, and my favorite super pet is Lucky the Pizza Dog.
And my name is Ryan, and my favorite super pet is Harley Quinn's hyenas, I guess. I didn't really know what a super pet was, or heard it phrased that way before.
You heard it here first, folks. I'm the nerd of the bunch. I know what the phrase super pet means.
It's fine.
And this is a show where Ryan's super pets make some noise and we edit around it. So this is a show where we have a drink, we try to be succinct, and we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how the intro goes. Real high energy octane start to this one. So Ryan, what doth thou drinketh today?
So we're still just doing drink what you got, and tonight I'm drinking a vodka cranberry.
Ooh. Which is a sea breeze? No,
I think a sea breeze is like a vodka cranberry, but like also blue curacao.
I think it was lime.
I did put a little lime in this. That? We've had a sea breeze before.
Yeah.
It's fruity and juicy.
We've done more than 5 episodes. I don't remember them all.
Hell, when we only had 5 episodes, I didn't remember them all.
I was about to say we could play a fun game where we try to remember the first 5 episodes and what they were, but it's like, that's not good podcasting. We have more than 5 episodes. We should know better by now.
Oh, man. What are you drinking, Matt?
So I am drinking a mocktail.
Ooh.
Which is a word I hate, but I can't think of a better way to phrase it. So I'm drinking what's called a Roy Rogers. Hard for me to say, good for me to drink.
What is a Roy Rogers?
Roy Rogers is about an ounce of grenadine, and then you just throw some soda on that and throw a maraschino cherry in there because it's a like an old soda fountain drink, and they just threw maraschino cherries on everything. And it's nice. Fine. It tastes like grenadine, so that's fun.
So is it just grenadine and club soda?
No, like cola.
Oh.
I used a refreshing RC cola.
Nice. You should do like a little dash of cocaine just for like old timey tradition's sake.
Yeah. Let me go get some real quick.
Okay. So what are we talking about today, Matthew?
Today we are talking about comic books.
Ooh.
Comics. We're both nerd adjacent. So we both have read a comic book in our lives. And we thought, we could do an episode about that. And here we are. So, Ryan, I guess the first big question is, when did you, if you are into comics, get into comics?
I didn't really get into comics until college. Like, I'd seen superhero movies and, like, I knew about them. My dad was really into comics, like, pre-children. like before he had us, and so like I've always been kind of around him, but I didn't really care that much about him. Well, like sometimes I'd go through like his like he would have like Mad magazine.
Hmm.
Like I would like read through those because I'd be like, these are funny and they're made for 12-year-olds, and I'm a 12-year-old.
My target demographic.
um, so I'd read through those occasionally, but even then, that was just like his old comics had gotten shoved on a bookshelf in a room that I occupied in my house. So they were just there. So it'd be like, I'm bored. These ones don't have the little plastic cover on them. That means they're free game.
Yeah. I can ruin these ones with my little 12-year-old fingers.
But in college, I got into them more. Um, One of Ryan's first failures was I applied for like a fellowship with a company called Bitch Media, which I support 100%. And it's like a very competitive fellowship to do like pop culture. And for some reason, I decided to write about something I didn't really know that well, which is probably why I didn't get it. It was pretty.
I don't know.
Looking back,
That's some like white boy energy. It's like, I don't know about this. I'm an expert. So I don't
it
know why
wasn't
they
like
didn't
an
hire
expert. It wasn't an expert. No, and it was super competitive. It really was. Um,
you. Did you take the physical challenge?
the physical no. No.
Good
I
improv.
sent in
No.
I s-
Just shut down the premise. Okay, continue.
I got confused. I'm sorry. No, I wrote a couple of different pieces on. I'd sent in like an essay that I'd written, which was about Harley Quinn, which is a comic book character, but it was actually about to age myself when I was still applying for fellowships. Was when Suicide Squad came out, and I had like an interest, like I'd had like a growing interest
In Suicide Squad? Or.
in comic books.
Oh, okay. That's like.
But I was really focused on like the feminist perspective and like queer theory and queer coding in comic books. And I also didn't help myself because I wrote specifically about like feminist comics. Like I didn't really go into like the misogyny and like the refrigeration aspects of like mainstream comic books.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, when I was interested in the fellowship, I was really getting into comics, and I had a professor, an amazing English professor, who helped kind of push me into that because she loved writing about queer coding and comic books. Like I was able to like use her as a sounding board. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I didn't get into it until college. I feel like you had a slightly more like traditional introduction into comic books.
Um, yeah. So I know that I knew about superheroes before this, but my first like vivid memory of comic books is that in third grade, one of my friends had like an older sister or something that had a bunch of comic books, so he would show me his, and I like distinctly remember being in class like sneaking reading Incredible Hulk comic that he brought in, and but I must have known about superheroes before then because I saw the first Spider-Man movie in theaters, and that was 2001. So, well, okay, I saw about 75% of Spider-Man in theaters because my mom made me cover my eyes because it was a PG-13 movie, and I was a first grader, however old that is.
What happened in Spider-Man that was inappropriate?
Violence.
You gotta cover your eyes for violence.
Yep. Every single fight scene. I didn't realize how it ended because my mom didn't want me to see the Green Goblin get skewered. So yeah. Well, I guess I knew how it ended because they have his funeral, but you know what I mean. Also, fun fact. Spider-Man was the first PG-13 movie that I was allowed to see all the way through. I watched it on VHS. Not because I'm old, just because my parents didn't buy a DVD player. um, but yeah, I got introduced to comics through that friend, and then I watched all the Cartoon Network, like DC cartoons, like Justice League Unlimited and Teen Titans and all those.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I grew up, I didn't read like Marvel and DC so much. I started leaning more towards like Dark Horse and like Hellboy and the Umbrella Academy because I was an edgelord. Stop pretending you know what it's like to be an edgelord, Dad. You don't. But anyway, I digress.
I think it's really interesting that I feel like comic books and being into it used to be not taboo, but just kind of like, whatever. And now it's blown up into being like a personality trait, which
Mm-hmm.
stresses me out because
Well,
people,
it's not a personality trait. People just use it like it is.
yeah, and it's subsiding a bit. You still have those like hardcore, like anti PC culture
Yeah.
goblins that just kind of run around and are like, why do we need women superheroes? Obviously, they're all weak and feeble.
Carol Danvers isn't Captain Marvel. It's like, fuck you, yeah, she is.
I will say that there is a frustration because I can't tell if the company, God, was it Marvel? Not maybe not Marvel. It's Marvel or DC recently came out with like superhero twins, but they're like Snowflake and Safe Space. And I can't tell if it's like actually trying to be like bringing the importance of like, because I think both of them are even like non-binary. This is dead air. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Uh,
I swear to God, if this is a fake thing and I'm just making it up and I got frustrated over nothing, I'm gonna feel stupid.
the Onion isn't real news, Ryan. I don't know. I'm gonna be super honest. I don't keep up with like Marvel and DC, like the comic side of it anymore.
Oh, it's in the like New Warriors series.
New
It's
Warriors.
on Marvel.com, so I am gonna say that this is probably real. Yeah. But they have, yeah, it's like a set of twins, and one is named Snowflake, and the other is Safe Space. And I don't like it. Because, like, their big thing is, like, ugh, they also use the phrase post ironic. Never mind. This is stupid. I hate Marvel. They're the worst. You like the worst superhero.
I don't know. All of them are bad. So speaking of recent additions to comics, what comics have you been into? That was a horrible segue.
Um, lately, I okay, is there like an actual difference just besides length between like a graphic novel and a comic book? Because I feel like I pigeonholed myself by saying I'm into comics because I've been reading more graphic novels, not so much comic books.
So I think graphic novels are longer. Okay, so I at one point knew the definition of each. I think that graphic novels are limited series in
Okay.
like a single like edition, and then like in a collected edition, and then comics are like ongoing series that come out
Okay.
One comic a month.
So all graphic novels are comics, not all comics are graphic novels.
At the risk of being wrong on the internet, yes. Because if I want to get this wrong somewhere, it's going to be on the internet.
It's okay. We have like 4 listeners.
Yep. And I know for a fact one of them doesn't know the definition of graphic novels, so we're safe.
I recently reread The Umbrella Academy because I do enjoy the Netflix show. And I gotta say, I actually prefer the show because I feel like the graphic novel is very disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
Or that might actually be a comic. I'm not gonna get into the semantics of it if people
It's a
want to yell
graphic
at me.
novel.
Okay, it's like if
I'm
people want
pretty
to
sure it's a
yell at
graphic
me,
novel.
they can.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're just going to call them all comics no matter what. It's
Okay.
just easier.
It's just more disjointed, and I feel like the story is easier to follow. And I know that there's like changes throughout that don't connect
Because,
to.
yeah, I haven't read the Dallas comic, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't in any way, shape, or form match what season 2 of the show is.
It doesn't. It
Because I'm
does
pretty
not.
sure at the end of Apocalypse Suite, when Vanya gets Scott, she stays get Scott, right?
Yeah, is that
In
soon
the
enough that we
comics,
need to put spoilers?
it came out when I was in middle school, so well, I guess
uh, you're talking about the.
the comic,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I think.
because I don't know if this is a spoiler, but that's not a spoiler for the show.
But
That
I think the show just does better with like linear storytelling as opposed to the comic, which is kind of clunky. Granted, it was
it
created by like a songwriter, so the way that they
well,
tell stories is way different than the way like a
yeah,
novelist would tell a story.
it's also kind of a format difference because I feel like you can tell more of a story in a season of television more so than you can 6 issues of a comic.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I feel like the characters are a little bit more fleshed out in the series too.
Yeah.
And I think the series does change them in ways that benefit the I don't know I was going to say show, but it's like is it show or do I want to say show or comic? I don't know. I'm confused at this point. I don't know what nouns are. Um but it benefits the story, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. I also have started rereading now that I'm past application for a fellowship and not having to like read through it quickly. I've actually restarted 2 of the um, comic books that I was kind of talking about, which are feminist comic books. So I've been reading Bitch Planet, which is like I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't.
Okay. Basically it's like the whole planet is a prison of like women and you kind of like find out their story. It's really cool. And
Is
then
it
I've
like
also
Orange is the New Black, but it's a planet?
don't say that. I don't like that comparison. But when I said it out loud it sounded kind of similar, so well, that's not good. And then Paper Girls, which is like
I think
younger.
I think I've heard of that one, but I don't know anything about it.
It's kind of modern times Stranger Things, but more alien oriented than like D&D. So like it's sci-fi. It's cool
Is
and
it sort of cosmic horror-y? Horror-y?
yeah,
That's not a word.
yeah. But that's what I've been reading lately. I also have read the Adventure Zone graphic novels because we both listen to McElroy's.
Yeah. we at least listened to that era of the Adventure Zone.
I've listened to two.
I've listened to one and a half. Well, I don't know. Do we count the in between arcs as a whole arc? That weird
Mm,
time where they were just trying to figure out what they were doing next.
I think that those are mini arcs. I don't know that they really count. I ended up liking Amnesty a lot. We're not talking about
Uh,
that though.
yeah, I was gonna say, well, I mean, in a way, we kind of are since they are graphic novels now. Um,
The
but
first arc is.
yeah, well, um, but in I'm gonna contradict myself a little bit. It's like I didn't like Amnesty because it was like a hidden world
Mm-hmm.
thing, but I also like Hellboy, which is also a hidden world thing. So what does that say about me? um, but yeah, sorry, I had to look at my bookshelf real quick. It's like, what comics have I been reading? I recently moved all my comics up here, so I can actually read them now. I've got a bunch of Hellboy and related comic books. Um, got my Lobster Johnson comic up here, so that's a plus for all you deep cut Hellboy fans out there. Um,
Were these previously stored at like your parents? Like you didn't even have them in your
yeah,
old apartment or place of
old
living?
place. No,
Okay.
nope. Um, I didn't have any room, but I recently got a big ass bookshelf, so I can store all kinds of stuff. Um, but yeah, I mostly read like I don't know if it's the golden age, but like 60s era, like Marvel and DC, and then Dark Horse, and that's about it.
Okay. What draws you to those?
I think I like the art styles of those ones because they're more not necessarily cartoony, but they look more like comic books. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like super realistic, which is what a lot of modern comic books look like.
Yeah.
Um, I think really the only like super modern arc that I've enjoyed that I could look past the um, style was the Thor God of Thunder with the God Butcher, which is what the new movie is gonna super kind of or not super a little bit be based on. I think because Christian Bale's gonna play the God Butcher, and I don't know how they're gonna make him look on screen because it's gonna be gross.
Could you give us an update on the Spider Verse?
No, because I haven't been keeping up with it. I think Alfred Molina is returning to play Doctor Octopus, so that's fun. Even though he died, so I don't know how that's gonna work. Um, and I think they got Andrew Garfield and Toby
You think they
Tobes.
got him?
They got our boy Tobes, Tobes McGee. Um, I think maybe Emma Stone's gonna play Spider Gwen, but I don't know. Um,
She feels. I feel like she's past like the high school or stage of acting.
well, I don't know if they'll make her a high schooler. I honestly have no clue what they're doing. They're casting people. It's like this person died in their movie. Why are they here? But yeah,
Okay.
so I think maybe there's rumors that Charlie Cox is going to play Daredevil, but I don't know how that's going to work because the Daredevil show was TVMA. So, like, I don't know how he's going to, like, I guess he could just punch Dr. Octopus to death. That'd be fun. Um, yeah. I don't know that they're getting Michael Keaton back, which is a shame. Um, They need okay. You've opened the box. What they need to do is bring back Thomas Hayden Church to play Sandman, the best character in the original trilogy in the worst movie. He was the only redeeming character in Spider-Man 3
But what about Tobey
because
Maguire and his goth phase?
no. That was bad.
No, it was good.
But they need to get him back, and then they need to have, I guess, Alfred Molina's fine to play Doctor Octopus. It's like I think they're gonna try to do the Spider Verse, but also Sinister Six, which is something they've been trying to do since the Amazing Spider-Man, but they keep canceling the franchises too soon. But I guess that's not going to be a problem because they're just going to bring back whoever. So, but yeah, Jamie Foxx is playing Electro. Everybody's favorite. Everybody say it together. I just don't want them to bring back a Green Goblin. I don't like any of the Green Goblins except for Willem Dafoe, but I don't think they're going to bring him back.
No, he's living off those Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean royalties.
Yeah. Once
Is
you
it
make a movie
royalties?
that
It's not
good.
royalties.
It is royalties.
It is royalties. Okay, yeah, it is. I was thinking, no, that's TV, but that's residuals. I don't know. What were we talking about?
Comics, I think.
Yeah. So, this is the topic that I was going to segue into earlier, but then didn't. So, what do you think some pros and cons of comic books are? Like, what do they do right and what do they do wrong?
Um, it kind of depends on what you read. I feel like, and it could partially be the medium. And I would like to preface this with I do think that it is changing very slowly at the behest of many men.
Yeah.
It is starting to change, and you're starting to see more people represented in comic books because the audience for comics has shifted a lot. It's weird to say that they fall into tropes because I feel like they kind of made a lot of the tropes, so they just kind of keep using storylines that worked in the past.
Yeah, it's kind of like television in that the format benefits from shorthand, and that lends itself to a lot of tropes because you got to write to the people who read like the long-term storylines, but you also got to write to the people who just pick up a random issue,
Yeah.
kind of like TV.
And then what they do well is, again, like this is kind of they're starting to shift to telling more diverse stories. Do I wish that they would try and talk about like intergenerational and like racial issues without using the phrase post-ironic? Yes. But I think that we are starting to see a shift in the way that these stories are being told, and I think that we're seeing a shift in the types of characters that they're writing about.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think comics are doing right and wrong?
What they're doing right is, I think, art. I don't know. They're nice to look at. Like you said, they're getting better. I kind of feel like comics are like Star Trek because they a lot of times they talk about like equality and like that kind of stuff, but then you read it and there's like, wait a minute.
It was both ahead of its time and very much rooted in the language of the era.
Yes. But yeah, It's getting better because I feel like they're getting more diverse writers too.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're actually getting people whose experience experiences reflect the characters more so
Yeah.
than just this random white dude's gonna write about Miles Morales.
Yeah.
um,
I would agree
but
with
yeah,
that.
and then the cons, yeah, refrigerator and that kind of stuff. Just not knowing what to do with women characters, so killing them off.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually went to a talk in college. See, this is when I was getting into comic books. Is when you could go to like lectures about comic books, and people are like, "Yeah, this actually sounds fun." And
Hmm.
I went into a lecture about women in comic books, and they talked extensively about the refrigerator trope, and I was like, "Yeah, that's gross." They also talked in depth about the Killing Game because that is just the
Or the Killing Joke.
yep.
Yep.
God, somebody's gonna come for me. Yes, the Killing Joke.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off Joker fans. They're the they're those boys we were talking about earlier.
The Killing Joke because it led to like significant change. So like a lot of times with the comics, there's like multiverses and like one shots that are just kind of like fantasy themed that don't actually tie into like the timeline or like the actual canon.
Hmm.
That one did. It was gruesome. It was a hardcore mistreatment of women. And it was, well, she, spoiler alert, while she didn't die, um, it was just to mess with the male characters. It really, she was kind
Hmm.
of like like the effects of it was more of an afterthought and not like the focal point of the story. Um, I don't like the use of like rape as an even the illusion of rape as a narrative device. I think that there
Yeah.
is like it's very much a time and a place, and using it as the writing it from the perspective of the perpetrator is gross to me.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't think there's a what do I want to say? There's no good way to write about it. I don't think.
And I don't
Well,
want to say that like it should never be in a story. I just think that
it's it's a very delicate subject, and I don't think it's always approached with the thought it should be.
yes. I think that
Yeah.
like the intention is there to like show the impact, but I don't think that the people writing always are able to grasp that. And it partially could be, I mean, you can guess for hours about why it is, but like it could be because the mediums just, you aren't able to like get into the depths of the issue. It also could be lack of experience on the writer's behalf, which I don't want them to have experienced that.
Hmm.
But I yeah, I have an issue with that, and that was one thing I really did not enjoy about the Killing Joke. I just set my cat on the ground and it was loud. But
She
yeah.
may be small, but she can hit the ground with force.
Oh my god. She's also been puffing up a lot. Like she'll just come sprinting from either my bedroom or the bathroom. I don't know which, but she'll just come full sprinting and she's just all puffed up. So I don't know what ghost lives back there that is spooking her, but it's funny.
It's fun. Yeah. So, um, so what are some adaptations that you like of comic books? like TV
Adaptations.
shows or movies or
Um,
novelizations. Those are always fun.
this will let me talk about one of my like absolute favorite comics too. This is good. Don't get me wrong. I love Bitch Planet. I love Paper Girls. Um, my like ride or die, and I understand that there's a lot of issues with it, and I really understand that it's not the best portrayal of women. I love Tank Girl.
I was like, where is this going?
I absolutely love Tank Girl, which I didn't know. God, is who's the company for Tank Girl?
Dark Horse, I believe.
Or is it Dark Horse? Okay. My
My
first,
go to if it's not DC or Marvel is just like it's Dark Horse. You just
especially
need Winter Zone, Dark
in,
Horse.
in the '90s, I think, especially, I feel like Dark Horse was. Um, but yeah, I fucking love Tank
Or it
Girl.
might be oh, who does Spawn? Is that Image? No. Spawn is Icon? I don't know. There's all kinds of like weird edgy comic book companies that
Icon
popped up in the
does
90s.
Bitch Planet and Paper Girls.
So maybe it's not Tank Girl.
It says Deadline. Dark Horse is one of them. I don't know if that's just
It's always
showing me
Dark Horse.
publishers or if they've all published Tank Girl. I don't know how comic companies work.
They might have switched like publishing rights or something at some point.
Yeah. But then it just lists a bunch of publishers, so I don't know if Google was like, you just want to know every publisher. That's not Marvel or DC. Um, yeah, I love Tank Girl, and that's one that I didn't know it was a comic. And you know how your parents wouldn't let you watch PG-13 movies? My parents didn't care. I was the third kid. At that point, they're like, nothing we do matters. We don't want to watch Disney princesses all the time. She's gonna learn how to watch these movies with us.
Solid.
So I was probably younger than someone should have been watching Tank Girl. But I thought she was so cool. Just like that, like super edgy, post-apocalyptic, like I'm gonna beat you up.
Yeah, so I know nothing about Tank Girl except that I recently learned that the tank is referring to water tanks and not the vehicle.
Yeah.
Did not know that until recently. But yeah, that's about all I know about Tank Girl.
I love Tank Girl so much that when I was taking one of my, I think it was Photoshop, we had to do digital painting, and it was supposed to be like a known comic book character. I did Tank Girl, and only one other person knew who it was,
But hey,
and
that's known.
they had to like vouch for me on behalf of the professor. Mostly because she gave us the option to make our own superhero, but she recommended that you use someone who already exists, so that way you can pull out like identifiable aspects of them.
Hmm.
And yeah, I chose Tank Girl. I loved it. I thought it was fun. It hung up in a wall for a while, but I did not want people to think that I created this person.
This is my OC Tank Girl.
Because we don't mess with copyright infringement.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing the movie, and I think it was very much. I think it came out the year I was born, and my mother hated Tank Girl. I think that my mom and dad went on a date to go see Tank Girl or something, and she was like, "This is stupid. Comics are the worst." And my dad was like, "No, it's actually a pretty decent adaptation," because he also read the comics.
Hmm.
And so like it was always a joke that anytime that we would see it on or if it was available to watch, be like, "Hey, you want to watch Tank Girl?" My mom would always just roll her eyes. So that was like a fun little memory, I
That was
guess.
a fun mom bully that we used to do.
Yeah. What about you?
Hmm.
What are some of your favorite comic adaptations?
So, I watched a lot of the MCU because I'm basic. I like The Winter Soldier and Black Panther are my two favorites of that series. Um, the Hellboy movies, two of them are good. One of them's good. Two of them, one of them's bad. One of them's fine.
Oh,
Um,
I forgot about the newer Hellboy. Yeah, I heard that wasn't very
yeah,
good.
it's not. I watched it, but it's not.
Which I feel like if we if we as a society can bully a movie studio into changing aspects, I feel like we should have been able to bully them about Hellboy stuff. Because I don't think that it looked very good even in the promo stuff.
um,
And there's a precedent now for Sonic and
well,
Cats.
actually, for once, people bullied for good because they did bully the studio into casting an actual Asian man to play an Asian character instead of a white man.
That is good.
So that was
In
the one good
Hellboy?
thing about the whole movie. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Daimyo. Daimyo was originally going to be played by the guy that plays the villain in Deadpool, but instead he is played by, well, what's that guy been in? Lost? That's not right. What's he been in? He's in stuff. Is he? He's in something.
I would assume he's in something.
You know, he's in that thing.
Daniel Day Kim?
Daniel Day Kim. Daniel Day Lewis?
No. I do think he was in. He was in Hawaii Five-O. He was in Lost.
Okay.
And he was in the, like, reboot of Hawaii Five-O.
I kept thinking that, but I was like, that can't be right. He's too much of a. That seems like it's below his pay grade. But I guess not. When Hawaii Five-O comes a calling, you pick up the phone.
You answer.
You call your agent and say, "Book it, Dano." This is nothing.
What are some
yeah.
comic adaptations that you don't think went well?
Man of Steel. Worst comic adaptation. Um,
I would say Fantastic Four. I don't think that there's been a single good Fantastic Four movie.
the Silver Surfer one was fine.
No, it wasn't good. And it's like the worst role Chris Evans was ever in. The second worst role. I hated him in Scott Pilgrim.
That doesn't really count as a role though. He has like 5 lines. The evil ex-boyfriends are basically not in that movie at all.
So would you
Which
say that
that
that's another not good adaptation?
Well, I think it's a good adaptation of like a 9-book series into one movie, but I don't think I think you could do away with some boyfriends in that movie, ex-boyfriends.
But then
It also has
what's
some
the
weird
point?
implications to it, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
It came out in the early 2000s. That was the Wild West of cinema. Yeah. What are some other bad ones? Doctor Strange wasn't great.
Doctor Strange was okay to me. I personally, and we have differing opinions here, I don't like the Captain America movies. But I
The
don't
first
know
one
that I would
is
like the comics either.
Yeah, the first one is kind of a slog to get through. The second one is chef kiss good, except for like one dumb plot hole thing where he puts the algorithm in a vending machine like behind two packs of double bubble. And it's just like, why was this a plot that they decided to do? But anyway, um, Civil War's fine. Black Panther's
I
the
think Civil
part that I
War was
like about it
my.
most.
I feel like Civil War was my favorite Captain America movie because it was the Avengers 2 that we should have gotten.
Yep, talking about bad adaptations, Age of Ultron. Oof. I think I've seen it twice. When I've seen every other one at least like 10 times. So if that tells you anything.
Man of Steel was horrid.
Man of Steel spent so long just saying the same thing over and over. And it's like, we get it. He doesn't want to use his powers. We don't have to flash back 5 times in order to learn that.
Yeah, I just remember us
Then,
complaining about the stupidity of Kansas Dad.
yeah.
And like, there wasn't enough of Space Dad for us to really care about.
Yeah. Because, yeah. There was no internal logic in that movie.
No.
Yeah. And then, there are a lot of bad adaptations. I don't know. I'm just looking at my DVD collection of all my Howard the Duck. That's a good one. Have you ever seen Howard the Duck?
I remember like the puppet.
It's breathtaking in a horrible way.
So I do miss the use of special effects and like makeup and puppetry as opposed to CGI.
Like
Because there's just
practical.
yeah, like there's just something about that's just too uncanny valley for me with CGI with some CGI. Some places handle it well. It's not comics, but the best example I can explain is that the original Lord of the Rings with like Peter Jackson looks so much better than The Hobbit to me. And it's
That might
because
be
they relied very heavily on special effects artists and makeup and like prosthetics as opposed to just like the big bad getting a jelly body and everybody else is 100% CGI.
um I think it also looks better though because it's on the original's on film and the other one's digital, I think. So it looks a little, I don't know. For some reason lately, welcome to Film Talk with Matthew. I don't for some reason lately I've switched. I used to think like digital looked better than film, but as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate like actual films.
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
it, man. I miss
I,
going to Blockbuster and getting a VHS of I don't know what. Actually, no, that would have been Crown Video back then. And that's how old I am. I remember Joplin before there was a Blockbuster. Not that there has been one there for a while anyway. But
I want to watch Lord of the Rings now.
I almost watched it the other day, but then I was like, that's like 6 hours if I don't watch the extended ones.
And it's like 8 to 9 hours if you do.
Yeah.
The extended ones, I will say that like it does add parts of the story that are like my favorite from the books. But man, oh man, is it a long one?
It's a marathon. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about book adaptations. We're talking about comic book adaptations.
Oh. So this has been Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. Hopefully there's enough usable content from this episode to make a whole episode.
I think we got at least 45 minutes.
That's the dream. If you want to follow us on socials, we're at Rhetorical Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at RMCHMatt.
And I am at Queer Mothra.
Yep. Let's see. What else do we say?
I think that...
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Be good to each other.
Yeah, I got rid of my glass.
Oh, no.
So I can't clink.
Oh,
like we say at the end of every episode.
Clink!
Clink!
I should have done more research because I just realized 2 of the comics I read are from the same company.
It's okay. Mine are going to be the big 3. Well, I guess the big 2 and then Dark Horse.
The big 3 at this point. Dark Horse started out indie, but I don't think that they really fall under that category anymore.
Now they got a Netflix show, baby. The Umbrella Academy.
Oh. Is that Dark Horse?
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
And then Hellboy. I know, because that's basically all I read in high school was Dark Horse comics. But we'll get into that.